your producing started from a very generous and heartfelt perspective. Why don't you take us through how you went from that to Broadway? Yeah.
Well, I've had 4 aunts that are breast cancer survivors. The 4th one was diagnosed when I was 15 years old. And I'd kind of grown up in the theater, and my parents have a business background, so I decided that I was like, what can I do to help? I'll produce something, I guess, because I know theater, and that'll be fun. And so I produced the Rocky Horror Show for breast cancer. Rocky Horror, breast cancer, what? But it had a small cast, and it was fun, and there was kind of a cult following in Louisville, and I was like, well, that would make a lot of money for the Komen Foundation, which is a national breast cancer organization that helped my aunts a lot. So I did that the first year. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, so I did it in Kentucky.
And how much money did you raise to put that on, and then how much did you get back? Well, not to you, but to the foundation.
Absolutely. I got it backed by corporate sponsors, so nothing came out of my own pocket, or I started a separate non-for-profit company. It took a couple thousand to put it on. And then the first year, there were 2 shows, and it raised $12,000 for the Komen Foundation. And it was a full I kind of grew up being the kid actor in all the equity companies, so I got all my little equity friends to do Rocky Horror Show. And then it was such a success, and people loved it, and it raised a bunch of money for the Komen Foundation, and I decided to do it again the next year. Excuse me. And so the next year, I did it for 2 weekends, and we raised $32,000. And then I was 17, and I got accepted to NYU. And I came to New York, and I was like, well, do I want to produce it in Louisville from New York? That just doesn't seem, it seems very difficult to do. So I decided to produce it in New York. And where are you going to make the most money and fill the most seats? Broadway. So,
Did you have to start from scratch, or did you have contacts and things that you used from Louisville?
I knew no one in New York City. To rent a Broadway theater, I did my research, and I went, there are 3 organizations that own the Broadway theaters, basically. And I went and knocked on the Schubert organization's door and asked to speak to Jerry Schoenfeld, the late great Jerry Schoenfeld, who was the king of Broadway. And I walked in, and I was this little 17-year-old girl, and I'm like, can I see Jerry Schoenfeld? And they were like, I'm sorry, who are you? Do you have an appointment? And I was like, no, but I'd like to rent one of your Broadway theaters. And so they said, nope. But Roundabout Theater Company, which is a non-for-profit organization, they generously agreed to rent me a Broadway theater on a Monday night. And so my freshman year at NYU, I was kind of doing that, and at that time I absolutely knew no one in the city, so I just started cold calling agents and managers and seeing if talent would be involved, and Kevin Cahoon was the first one to say yes, and he's wonderful and works on Broadway a lot. I cold called over 200 agents, and one person said yes out of those 200 agents.
It only takes one.
It only takes one, and I said to Kevin, it was the benefit was in April, and I think this was in February. And I was like, Kevin, I really need help getting this cast. Can you help me? And he gave me a list of Broadway stars and their home numbers. And it really is one person came through another person came through another person.
Now, were they volunteering, or did they have to be paid through equity? Or
all of them volunteered their time.
Wow.
All of them volunteered their time. The only thing that I had to pay for was the theater. And it was fantastic. And coincidentally, the David Burtka, who's a wonderful, wonderful Broadway actor, had agreed to fly in from Los Angeles to be my riffraff, and it was a week before the show, and I had no narrator because they kept coming in and then dropping off because they got paying jobs. So I went through about 3, and then David is, Neil Patrick Harris is his boyfriend. And I called David, and I was like, do you think you could do me a favor? And David's like, I'll see if Neil will come in. Neil generously agreed to take the red eye the night before the show. He got there at 7 a.m. that morning, rehearsed all day long, and did the show that night. Wonderful, wonderful man.